Listen up, comrades. I'm only going to tell you this one time, so you better pay attention. I repeat, one time. Say again, one time. You better pay attention, okay? So you're going to take your standard issue Chinese bang fireworks. These are pull string finger fireworks from this website right up here. Okay. You're going to take one pack out. You're going to open said pack. And you're going to look at the catalog. Now be real careful. These are cheap. These might go off. These might go off at any point in time. You want to look at this 12 pack right here and try to get the biggest and fattest one that you can find. Big fat juicy one like that. You want to leave that out. The rest you want to put back in the pack for now. Like I said, probably be careful so they don't blow up in your hand. Next up, you want to find you, well, it's probably going to be the first step. You want to find you a LDA, a road, a deer trail, something like that, wherever you want to set up your perimeter alarm or security. Right now, I want to protect this way, this little trail right here that connects to a bulldozer trail. This is kind of the entrance. We're about 5 feet below the entrance, and then we're going to set this up, okay? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take some floral wire or a fishing line, some kind of twine, something that's hard to see. I'm going to make it a little bit above, or wrap it a little bit above ankle level. Especially where there's a lot of leaves on the ground, people are naturally, if they're trying to be quiet, pick their feet up. So maybe even a little bit higher, not knee high, but maybe a little bit below knee height. And I'm just going to start wrapping it real good. Doing some twist action, I'm just twisting it around. If you can't see, if I'm not in the frame right now, that's all I'm doing. I'm just twisting it around. I'm just going across. Get your firework. Our setup is going to be right here. Okay. So essentially what we're going to do is try to angle it like that and tie it around itself. Electric tape or duct tape would work really good for this. You can actually go ahead and make a loop in the firework itself. That'll probably make this a lot easier, to be honest. Now we're going to tie it to one side. So make a loop with the metal for your trip wire. I'm using heavy gauge steel floral wire for my case. That's what I prefer to use. I'm going to tie it pretty close to the center of the firework. And like that. So all we got to do, we either tape this side, we can stick a nail or a tack, or we're going to do what I'm going to do and just wrap some more twine around it. If you want, you can put a lot of tension on it like this and go to a different limb or tree like this over here. So again, I'm going to make this metal loop right here. And there's definitely easier ways to do this, but this is just how I'm doing it right now. It doesn't really matter. You just affix it to 2 points on either side of the LDA or wherever you want to set up your perimeter security. You want to make sure it's nice and tight. There's no slippage if it's wet or snowy, something like that. Make sure it's nice and tight. And be real careful because right now it's just waiting for a pull. It's just waiting for a pull right now. I'm going to go up above. This is the tripwire, this is the wrapping. I'm gonna go around and around. Careful not to jam anything up. If you were really in the thick of it, talking real war, you would probably spray paint this or add more camouflage, but for demonstration purposes, we're just going to trip it and see how it does. And then we'll go into more of the use case and why I think it could actually be better than some other options. Whoa! Just alerted you and your boys. Just got gunned down. That's what just happened. So you might have noticed right there that that wasn't very loud. Now, the only thing I can really compare this to naturally is the 12 gauge blank adapters or the tripwires, but the ones I could find on Amazon, which I own two personally, they're 30 bucks a piece. Even with prime shipping, they're still $30 a piece, and that's just kind of crazy, to be honest. With these Chinese fireworks, like I said, I'll leave a link in the description if I can. If not, I will pop them up. They're from Pyro Gear, Pyro Build, something like that. These things for a 144 pack are like $4. So keep that in mind. The demonstration, it wasn't very loud, but I have noticed 100% some are louder than others. That's why I recommend getting the beefiest one. I've also noticed that when it comes to breaking them, the faster that you break them, the louder they are. So, I mean, there's pros and cons. I'm going to try to put 3 into it. I was going to do 2, but I'm going to do 3 and see how loud that is and see if this is actually viable or if this is just a, you know, maybe good for airsoft, but not for actual war. Alright, so this is test 2 with them. Test 2, so the first one it worked, but it was not very loud. I took 3 of these, twisted them, tied them on one end, tied them to the loop, twisted them real tight, then tied it to the other loop of the tripwire. Okay. Now hopefully with 3 of these it'll sound a little bit more like a gunshot, something that'll actually wake you up. With 12 gauge triple arms, even being $30, I have noticed that they have like a 50-50 chance of going off, even if your primer has been hit prior. Light primer strikes, maybe. I've tried adjusting the springs, but it's about 50-50 with them as well. So, you know, I mean, tripwires, you want to set up a bunch. You want to set up a bunch. You don't want to just have 1 or 2. You want 10, 12, 20 all around your perimeter if possible. So, let's test this out. Yeah, that was a lot better. That was a lot better right there. I don't know how loud it was on the camera. That was definitely much louder. And it looks like we had ignition on all 3. Alright, so would I recommend this for security operations? Bottom line is, it is completely up to you. However, I noticed that it does have a higher success rate per pull than the 12 gauge triple arms. I do not go camping without the 12 gauge triple arms, but I might incorporate these into my perimeter security. For guerrilla operations, there's pros and cons. So during the nighttime, which is when these would be most beneficial, having a bunch of these around the perimeter in a group of 3 or 4, I noticed with 8 or more than 4, it's a little hard. Your tripwire is taking way too much poundage to pull the trigger, pull all 8 of them together, and that's just a no-no. That's no good. So I think these are viable in the sense that if you have somebody up pulling security, let's say you have a group of 3 guys, somebody needs to be up and you need to take shifts, right? So let's say 3-hour shifts. Let's say the dude from 3 a.m. to 6 a.m. is sitting there and it's pitch black and he's nodding off. He's sitting there, he's looking through his thermal, his digital night vision, or he's just sitting there listening. Even though these are not as loud as the 12 gauge ones, you're going to notice it. You are going to notice a snap, crackle, or pop whenever you're sitting there and it's the dead of night. You're going to notice anything. You know, they have a saying that people's hearing gets better at night. That's not necessarily true. We just become more aware at night to the noises because our vision naturally isn't as stimulated. So I think these do hold purpose. Now, you can get roughly over 1,000 with shipping for less than $50. That's pretty good. Might even be $30. I know a pack is like $4 and that comes with 144, so whatever that math is. And you can set these in a crate or in a box and never use them until you absolutely have to. Or you can use these as training aids for airsoft. But as for real world use, I'm not going to say I recommend them. They're not as loud as I thought they would be. But if you have someone up pulling security, then yes, I do think they are worth it, especially for the price. Just having a couple hundred or 1,000 of them just stocked up is not a bad idea. If you have any other suggestions of what to do with these, put it down in the comments. I love having thoughtful conversations with people in the comments, even if it's just 1 or 2 comments. I love just sitting here and just talking about this stuff and possible scenarios and really going through it with, I don't want to say like-minded individuals because that kind of raises some red flags, but just people that are generally interested in this and preparedness and stuff like that. As for camping defense, like let's say I'm going alone up in the woods and I'm going to set these everywhere, I would much rather have the 12 gauge trip alarms, but you know, those are also 50-50 if they go off. So I mean, these are almost guaranteed to go off if you set them up right. The 12 gauge ones, like I said, are about 50-50, so there you go. And then the price, you can get 144 of these, so divide that by 3, whatever that comes out to. That's how many tripwires you can effectively have, versus $30 a pop. So $60 or $120 for 4, and you can only have 4. They are reusable though, as long as you have 12 gauge blanks or 12 gauge shotgun shells that you can take the shot out of. They're reusable, but $120 versus $4 for 144 divided by 3, whatever that is. Weigh your options, you know, really weigh your options and what you personally need them for. Maybe have these, you know, the fireworks for a rainy day if you run out of 12 gauge shells, and have a couple of the 12 gauge. That's just something to think about. But keep in mind, the biggest thing is, especially for asymmetric warfare and guerrilla warfare, you are your own logistical supply. The citizens are the logistical supply. So it might be good to get these while they're cheap and have them pre-set up for tripwires. Also, legal disclaimer, I'm not legally responsible for what you do. You are a big girl or boy, whatever you are watching this. You make your own decisions. I'm here to educate and nothing more. God bless you. Au revoir. I'll be on, so have a great day. Peace. Yeah, that's louder than cans rattling for sure. Comrade, come on down.